You're listening to Be Radiant Radio. You are made of light and you are made to shine. Positive, uplifting, and helpful. Welcome to the show where you'll get informational and inspirational ideas on how to unleash your potential, get what you want in life, and shine like you're meant to.
Hi, and welcome to Be Radiant Radio. I'm Angela Loeb, and thanks for tuning in for today's program, You Are Not Your Job. As you can see, I'm returning to the Career Goals series with this episode, and I have a few more ideas for the series in mind, so you can stay tuned for future episodes too. But today, I'm going to start off today. I'm going to quote Jeffrey Bellman. It's from his book, The Consultant's Calling. He says, "Work, though essential to life, is not life. As important as work is to finding our individual meaning, it twists us out of shape if we let it." And he is right on. Bellman has got it nailed there. Let me say this clearly. If you didn't read it already in the title, your life is not your job. Your job is merely a part of your life. You are not your job. Too often I hear people tell me that they don't have happiness and fulfillment, and it turns out that they think that what they do to earn a living needs to be the thing that fulfills them. Now, isn't that interesting? Before the Industrial Revolution, doing a job used to be a whole process. Like, let's just say you were a furniture maker. You would harvest a tree or buy a piece of wood from someone else who harvested a tree. But the point is that you would pick that out, and then you would cut, and you would shave, and you would cure the wood by hand. Then you would design and build and paint the final product. It was all yours to do from beginning to end. Let's just say you were doing a dinner table. And in that era, pre-industrial era, it was common to, like, you adopted the trade that your parents were in, the profession that they did, usually your father, and apprenticed for a year, years and years, so that you could do that job. Or you would take over the family business, or you would follow in their footsteps. And then, and by the way, we're talking about men doing the jobs, right? Women weren't doing those jobs. They were minding the house, they were helping the farming, but they weren't doing that. Like, maybe they could be a teacher, that's it. And then the Industrial Age Revolution, that happened, right? And in that new era, your job might have been merely one part in the whole process to produce something. Perhaps your job would be to turn the screws into the leg of the table and then move it along to someone else to paint it, the whole assembly line. And then a technology came along that progressed, and you might go from actually turning the screws to running a computer that controlled the whole operation. Or maybe you'd be the one programming the computer. The point is that you could get a job without needing years of apprenticeship under this master furniture maker to know every piece of it. So in the pre-industrial age, career options were pretty limited, and then they broadened out a little bit more during the industrial age. And then options got a little wider still with the age of technology, also known as the information age. And by the way, if Dan Pink is right, we're now in an age that comes after the information age. And his 2005 book, A Whole New Mind, he introduced the concept that we're in the conceptual age. And if he's right, we need to think much differently, since conceptual thinking comes from this right brain place versus a left-brained place where information age came from. Anyway, so now we have fast food, fast computers, fast travel, lots of geographical mobility, physically and virtually, and every bit of information and disinformation, by the way, that we could dream of at our fingertips in the computers. So some of us would say that we now have endless options. Now, I ask you this. This is a rhetorical question, of course, but were people happy when they had to take predetermined jobs, like following in their parents' footsteps? Were people happy sitting on an assembly line turning screws? Were people happy when they could operate or program the computer? What about having endless options? Are they happy now? I would say the answer is both yes and no, because otherwise we would never have change. But That's too deep. I'm going to go back to my original point and want to say this. Whether you work as a table-making artisan, because they still have those, right? Or as a table-making computer operator, or as a table-making researcher, or as a table designer who innovates new kinds of tables. It's just a job. It's what you do. It's not who you are. And really, if you get this, you'll know that if you lose your job, you won't lose who you are. However, the problem is that in our culture, the job, it's just the way we tend to identify ourselves, and so it becomes our identity. I mean, think about it. What's one of the first questions you're asked when you meet someone new? Hi, nice to meet you. What do you do? It's what we ask each other, and then we'll label you by your profession, or rather, you'll label yourself when you answer that question, right? And then after that, we'll have this great reference point, a way to know how to relate to you from now on. And let me tell you, my own many job labels, career consultant, entrepreneur, writer, public speaker, instructor, these are not who I am. These are just things I do. And if I'm fortunate, I get to earn income doing these things. Woohoo! Now, I believe that if we didn't hyper-identify with our jobs, we wouldn't be so unhappy. I once saw a careerbuilder.com survey. The results really stuck in my head because they were so startling. It stated that 4 out of 5 U.S. workers don't have their dream job, and less than one-half say they're satisfied. So the majority of us don't have dream jobs. But what is a dream job anyway? It's about doing what makes us happy, right? It means I should love my job, right? Well, I mostly love my job, but I don't always love my job. As a business owner, I don't like keeping track of the mileage, my car mileage, and I don't care for bookkeeping all that much. And I definitely don't love dealing with the tax stuff. I'm so happy I have a tax accountant. When I was a recruiter, I never enjoyed having to let someone know they were getting turned down for a job offer, or even worse, when I had to fire someone. So it's all about perspective, and that perspective is relative, isn't it? I mean, what a problem to have. We enjoy this great living standard from all the money we earn at these non-dream jobs, and compared to our pioneering ancestors, we live like royalty and conveniences. We have luxuries that would have seemed like fantasy to them if they could have even conceived of it. Can you imagine? Little house on the prairie, looking at a tablet, looking at an iPad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you have to stay in a job you hate. And I definitely draw a line in the sand on staying in an abusive job. That's a very definite no-no. Never stay in an abusive situation. But what I am saying is that we should take the pressure off. A good job is a good thing. A dream job, that is a job you love 100% of the time, which isn't realistic anyway. It's not necessary to have a dream job in order for you to have a dream life. And I'm also saying that your job doesn't define you unless you allow it to. And for those of you who own businesses who don't have a job per se, and I raise my hand here as one of those self-employed people, to you I would also say this: you are not your business either. My advice for immediate happiness and fulfillment, it's really simple. Stop identifying so much with the job and turn your focus on figuring out what your unique gifts are and how to use them. If not in your work, so that you don't have like a dream job, right? Then in your life. Remember, like Jeffrey Bellman says, work, though essential to life, is not life. And I would add to that doing work you love is great, but living a life you love is far better. So broaden your perspective. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. Enough of a rant, right? I'll be back soon with another episode for the Career Goals series. Like I said, I have a lot of other great ideas to add to the series. In the meantime, if you're curious about working with me one-on-one, or if you want to find out more about my other programs and articles and books and so forth, you can go to my About page. Just use AngelaLoeb.com to find me. Thanks so much for joining me. Until next time, keep on shining like you're meant to.